Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. Today I'm going to be talking about the discipline of joy. Usually when you think of discipline and you think of joy, most people don't put these two words in the same sentence. I'm going to be sharing 3 myths about discipline and joy. The first is that joy is something that we deserve only after success. In other words, the syndrome of I will be happy when. Have you ever said that to yourself? Many driven, high-achieving people believe that they get to be happy, they get to be joyful, they get to rejoice, they get to celebrate only when they have succeeded. Well, if you're anything like a driven, ambitious, A-type personality, the chances are that as soon as you've achieved that goal, you're on to the next. And so what happens if you deprive yourself of joy in between the moments of achievement, then you're in for a life that is mostly filled with striving and achieving with little pockets of joy. That is a recipe of a lot of frustration, which is the best recipe for burnout. And so it's really important that we understand that we can actually use joy as a magnet as opposed to something that we strive for when we've achieved something. One of my clients, hyper ambitious, very driven, was feeling unfulfilled. She was underpaid. She was feeling trapped and stuck. She didn't like the apartment she lived in. She was in a lackluster relationship. And when we started working together, what happened was incredible. After shifting this mindset, and she started leveraging joy as opposed to feeling it was something she deserved only at some point in time, she not only got a job that was paying her 3 times her salary, she also was able to move into a fabulous apartment downtown. And what happened was that she actually found the courage to really be in a relationship where, for the first time in many years, she actually felt alive. So that was really, really good for her. The second thing I'd love to share is this myth that there's a synonym between discipline and painful, hard work. Yes, of course, discipline takes some commitment. It probably even takes some level of effort. But what's your discipline? I learned the hard way that I could be disciplined at finding joy or disciplined simply at being a workhorse. And so I'm results oriented. Nothing is ever going to change that. And many high achievers and many driven people are results oriented, and nothing will change that. However, as you're achieving those goals, as you're going after your results, can there be a discipline of joy? Can it be that you actually create moments intentionally for joy in your day as you strive? And why should you do this? We're results oriented, so we think, why, right? It's very simple. Because when you understand that your results are not simply a function of your action, it's not simply a function of your intention, it's a function also of your state of being, of your emotions. Joe Dispenza says that when we have elevated emotions, so joy, happiness, gratitude, excitement, combined with clear intentions, then that which we desire comes to be. And so if you have a huge goal, good for you, and you're taking all the action, you're coachable, good for you too. But you're spending most of your time in frustration, irritation, doubt, and worry. Unfortunately, this is like pouring water into a basket, or it's like having 2 opposing forces. You're not going anywhere quickly. So you want to be, if you're a super high achiever, to understand that working on the discipline of making sure that my emotions and my state is high is as strategic as taking the right actions. That is where the sweet spot is. And the last thing I want to share in terms of the last myth is simply that when it comes to business, it's really important. Yes, of course, use your head. However, follow the beat of your heart. If something does not spark joy for you, then give yourself permission to say no, thank you. If you keep doing things because it's the right thing to do, it'll please that person, and if you don't do it, you won't get money, etc., 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 you'll find yourself bitter and resentful. And that is something that will simply drain your energy, number one, drain from your magnetic field, number two, and definitely impact your bottom line. Because no one wants to be around a tired and frustrated person. Everyone wants to be around a person who is alive, who's excited, who's joyful, who's living life like they are tuned in and tapped into the juiciness of it. So, joy is the juice. You definitely want to focus on that. Now I've shared why joy is important. I'm also going to share 4 ways in which you can increase the joy in your life. As I work mind, body, spirit, and space, I'm going to give you examples in those 4 domains. The first is in terms of your mind. When it comes to your mind and it comes to increasing the joy in your life, you want to do something that just creates joy for you. I'll give you an example for myself. I love going to the movies. The mind gets to rest sometimes. It can't be work, work, work. All work and no play makes Jill a dull girl. And so what I do is I love to combine. So I love going to the movies. And then when I go to the movies in the middle of the afternoon on a weekday, I feel just super free because it's time freedom. I get to go to the movies at that time. And guess what? Most of the time when I do that, there's nobody else in the movie theater. So I get to have a private screening. That gives me a lot of joy. So find what gives you joy. For some people, it's knitting. For others, it's painting. For others, it's horse riding. For others, it's watching a nice series of Netflix. For some people, it's cooking. Some people, it's gardening. Be the owner of your joy. It doesn't have to give anybody else but you joy. If it sparks joy for you, do it. Now, in terms of your body, what you want to understand is that exercise actually enables you have endorphins. And so you want to choose a form of exercise that's good for you. But as I said, I love to double the pleasure. So I go walking, for example, and I go walking in some woods that are next to us. And there it's really nice because I hear the birds tweeting. I hear the branches of the trees rippling and just moving, and it sounds like the sea. And I just love the sound of waves. And so I'm in all this green, it's calm, it's beautiful, and I really enjoy that. That's good for my body. I'm getting exercise, it's calming my nervous system, and it's just a pleasant way to exercise. So it's creating joy. So try and do things where you have 2 or 3 or 4 things that are really tuning and sparking joy for you. Now, I talked about spirit. Now, when it comes to spirit, I have 2 major tips for you. The first one is forgiveness. You may think, how does forgiveness create joy? Of course it does. You are a naturally joyful being. You are a naturally joyful being. When you are not feeling joyful, something is getting in the way. It could be irritation, it could be frustration, it could be past hurts, it could be trauma. One of the best ways of releasing all that's between you and you experiencing your joy is forgiving, letting go of the old, letting go of the past. I've done several videos on this. You may want to check them out. Reach out if you'd like to know more on that. That in itself is a superpower. The second spiritual tip in terms of joy is gratitude. You see, whatever you choose to focus on, there'll be more of that in your life. So if you choose to be grateful, then you get to experience more joy. You can't be grateful and frustrated at the same time. No. So you find 1, 2, 3, or 10 things that give you gratitude. And I'm going to add another tip, which is do this forgiveness and gratitude in the morning. The way you start your day sets your day. I have the saying, when you rule your morning, you rule your world. You want to go into that day lighter from any hurts or low emotional vibrational energies that you have, and you suddenly want to tune into the frequency of gratitude. And why is this? Because you are going to see more and more things in that day that you absolutely love. The last thing is space, and this is a big one. What I can tell you right now is this: when your space affects your peace of mind. It affects how you're thinking, it affects how you're feeling. So do one thing for yourself. Is it tidying your desk? Is it decluttering your clothes? Is it cleaning your room? Choose one thing. It may not be the most pleasant thing. I don't personally like to clean. It's not my jam. But I know that whenever I get my clothes and fold them nicely, remove all the things I don't really love anymore, and truly keep only that which sparks joy, there is so much pleasure in that. I can now see the clothes I like. I don't waste so much time in the mornings choosing my clothes. And I can tell you, I feel lighter. In fact, as one of my sisters, she did this exercise of Marie Kondo, and it was so incredible. I just told her about it, but my sister shifts with the speed of spirit. And she told me that the day after she'd done that, she actually received a large amount of money from somebody who'd been owing her for a while, and she didn't even need to call the person. She created space and it could come in. I know of people who've Marie Kondoed their lives and have found love, have found new jobs, have even healed from illnesses. All the negative energy, just like in the case of holding on and not forgiving, is affecting your life and affecting your joy. And why is this important for you as a purpose-driven, heart-centered, impact-driven person? It's simply important because clear your space, clear your energetic field, be on the vibration of love, be on the vibration of gratitude, focus on that which you desire. Allow yourself the freedom to do what sparks joy for you. This in itself is increasing your vibrational frequency. It's elevating your state. Remember, I told you that your state is as important as your strategy. And when you do that, then you'll start seeing miracles happen in your business, in your relationships, with your health. Because if you're taking all the action, all the things that are usually associated with discipline, and you do not have the discipline of joy, life will be harder because it'll be full of frustration, it'll be full of hardness, and there'll be none of that joy that lights you up as well as lighting up the world. I would love to know the 1, 2, or 3 things you're going to start doing after having listened to this. I cannot wait for you to take the action in an elevated state that really truly leads to deep transformation. Love and light.